pro-consumer organization working out of our office in Brooklyn. Can you hear me? Yeah! Good. Here in New York, we're helping lead the fight to ban fracking. And we're also working closely with GMO-Free New York, the Northeast Organic Farming Association, and other allies to support legislation requiring the labeling of genetically engineered foods. Under any circumstances, passing a bill into law is difficult and time-consuming. It takes a lot of effort and a long time. But folks, these aren't ordinary circumstances, because we're going up against some of those powerful, wealthy corporate interests, including one of the world's most nefarious corporations, Monsanto. Food and Water Watch. Food and Water Watch is all about building the power to take on corporate interests and win. But we recognize that the playing field is not fair, that wealthy interests have an unfair advantage, which is why we're supporting campaign finance reform in Albany, fair elections, and why you should too. At the same time, Food and Water Watch is helping build a movement here in New York and across the country for a fair and sustainable food system. Thanks to the power of this movement, thanks to you, we've managed to keep Walmart out of New York City. And we've kept the fracking rigs at bay for the moment. And now we're taking on Monsanto in an effort to allow consumers the right to know what's in their food. There are three action steps that we're asking you to take. First of all, circulate our petition to your friends, family, and neighbor. There are 4 clipboards going around as we speak. Petitions, please make sure they get back to me before we leave. Second, circulate our coalition sign-on letter to churches, food co-ops, and health food stores, and other businesses and institutions that might sign on and support. And third, call your own legislators, your assembly member and senator. As I mentioned, we're working to support legislation to require the labeling of GE foods. This legislation has been introduced in both the state assembly and the state senate. In the assembly, the chief sponsor is Linda Rosenthal, a wonderful progressive Democrat from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And the bill number is A3525. In the Senate, the chief sponsor is Kenneth Laval, a Republican from Long Island. And the bill number is S3835. As I also mentioned, passing a bill is a lengthy, fairly complex process, with the aim being winning the support of the legislature's leaders, having the bill come to a vote and passing, and then having the governor sign it. In order to achieve this, we need to build grassroots support for the bill and translate that support among rank-and-file legislators in Albany. The main way of doing this is recruiting co-sponsors for the bill. That is, having legislators, both assembly members and senators, sign as formal supporters of the bill. At this point in the process, we're still actively seeking co-sponsors of these bills, and we need your help. There are 150 members of the Assembly. At this moment, there are 42 co-sponsors of the bill. There are 63 members of the Senate, and at this moment, there are 5. Just 5 co-sponsors of the bill in the Senate. There is no magic number of co-sponsors. The more, the better. Getting co-sponsors, that is, getting legislators to show their support for the bill, is critical to nudging the bill through the process, which means first getting it approved by the committees that are considering the bill. In the Assembly, that committee is the Committee on Consumer Affairs, chaired by Assemblymember Jeffrey Dinowitz, a Democrat from the Bronx. In the Senate, that committee is the Consumer Protection Committee, chaired by Senator Lee Zeldin, a Republican from Long Island. With that in mind, our advocacy efforts are geared towards getting our legislators to influence the committee chairs, as well as the top legislative leadership, Speaker Shelley Silver and Majority Leader Skelos. Again, passing legislation is a long process, a process that Food and Water Watch and our allies are engaged in numerous states across the country, from Maine to Washington. We're convinced, we are convinced, with the growing grassroots power of our movement and the overwhelming public support for GE labeling, that it will pass, eventually. And once it happens in one state, the other dominoes may start to fall. That first state just might be New York. But only if you get involved. So please, collect petitions, get endorsements, and call your legislators. Here's the bottom line. Here is the bottom line. Monsanto has too much power over our food system. Monsanto is a major force within the growing corporate consolidation and control of our food system, dictating what we eat and how it's produced and sold. It's a system described by Food and Water Watch's own executive director, Winona Howder, in her new book, Foodopoly, which lays out the history of how corporations came to dominate food politics and food policy. This legislation and the movement that we are building, that you are building to support it, is one important step towards dismantling Monsanto's power over our food system. So please set those petitions back to me, folks.
Good job.
Bravo.
Thank you. So up next, guys, Bob Klein. He's with Safe School Food Coalition. What can you do for our kids? Come on, Bob, let's see it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? The Safe and Healthy School Food Coalition has a message for the New York City Department of Education. They are the ones who are responsible for the food our children eat in the school cafeterias.
Yes!
Food that is laden with poisonous pesticides, dangerous antibiotics, ammoniated and radiated and filled with GMO ingredients. Food that can make you sick. So our message to the Department of Education is, we are mad as hell and we're not going to eat it anymore. And the Safe and Healthy School Food Coalition has a message for all of you and all your friends and your family. That message is, fight with your fork. If we don't eat it, they can't sell it. So don't pay them to poison you. If we get together as parents and students and refuse to eat the unhealthy school food our children are being served, then we can have a tremendous influence on our children's health and on our broken and corrupt agricultural system. New York City buys and serves more food for its school system than any other organization in the entire country. It buys more food than anyone else except the Pentagon. It's true that because of parental pressure, the DOE is already trying to improve school food, but guess what? Their food budget is anemic. Possibly the drone program is sucking a lot of that money away. But in Italy, all public school children are fed organic food. You know what? The rate of childhood illness is much lower in Italy than it is in the United States. Bad food will make you sick, and it is making our children sick. The Obama children eat organic food at their school. You know who else eats organic? George Bush does. Check it out.
And Monsanto employees.
Bill Clinton does. So does Mitt Romney. Yeah, Monsanto executives, I'm being told, as well. Are they better than our school children here in New York City?
No!
Do they deserve better than our children?
No!
Food connects everything. Connect with your food. This recently released report details the startling health consequences of the pesticide glyphosate that is sprayed on almost all genetically engineered crops. It's just one pesticide, but it's the most widely used pesticide in the world. It was invented by Monsanto. I urge you to get the report and read it. It's on our website. Our website is schoolfood.info. The rise in obesity in America started in the same year that glyphosate was first used on our crops, 1974. The evidence is now overwhelming that glyphosate is implicated in the tremendous rise in ADHD and autism and depression that we are experiencing. Almost all GMO foods are saturated with glyphosate. It interferes with the body's ability to produce neurochemicals like serotonin. This is proven. It's in the report, just released 2 weeks ago. These are substances the brain needs to function properly. It interferes with the gut bacteria's ability to produce tryptophan, which produces serotonin. Feel-good drugs. The switch to organic and biosustainable food in our school cafeterias would have a tremendous positive impact for local farmers and the local economy, as well as our children's health. Safe and healthy school food coalition chapters can be started in every city, in every town. We will pressure the politicians until they do the right thing. But it's a lot of work. Please help us. Leave us your email and we will get in touch with you. Otherwise, the biggest impact that you can make is to stop eating CAFO meat. Does anyone know what CAFO stands for?
Combined Animal Feeding Operation.
It stands for torturing animals. CAFO stands for immoral and unethical. It means concentrated animal feeding operation. That's where they torture an animal's entire life by confining them to tiny, filthy spaces, often with no daylight, while force-feeding them cheap government-subsidized GMO soy and corn. So they get sick. So they need antibiotics. Most of the meat in this country is CAFO meat. Stop eating it today. It isn't easy because most restaurants serve it, most deli and fast food carts. But if you tell your favorite restaurant, I can't eat here anymore because I'm mad as hell, if you don't have organic or free-range meat option on your menu. If just 3 people did that, I guarantee you they will start getting ethically raised, healthy meats on their menu. GMO-free livestock, no more torture meat. I try to avoid the restaurants even though I'm a vegetarian because they're still serving meat that was tortured while it was raised and profiting on it. Don't eat CAFO meat. Now, the good news. We hold the best cards in this struggle. Vote with your dollar. Try to buy only healthy pesticide-free food as much as possible. If it's more expensive, then save money by making your own beer. Cut off your cable TV. Health is our greatest wealth, and as the great Adele Davis said, you are what you eat. Now let's try to have some fun. There's a lot of musicians here. I got a little song prepared for you, but I need some backup singers. Who wants to sing? All right, half the crowd here is going to sing one thing, and half the crowd here is going to answer that. Is everybody on board with that, or at least a few of you? All right, this side of the crowd, on the beat, when I cue you, is going to sing, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And when I cue this side of the crowd, you're going to answer, fight with your fork. Fight with your fork. All right? And I'm going to sing on top of it a little bit. Even though I got dry mouth. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not buying it. 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 Louder. I'm not buying it. 3, 4. I'm not buying it. Ready over here. I'm not buying it. Fight with your fork.
Fight with your fork. Fight with your fork.
As he chest. Raise your fist.
Fight with your force.
In your
Fight with your force.
the force.
Fight with your force.
Fight
Fight with your force.
Approaching Monsanto. Marching in back to corporate headquarters. Back to corporate headquarters. Executive bathroom. Into the toilet. And straight away down the drainage. Keep going. Now,